This is the first time the Rav is hearing these questions. This is fresh. Okay. We live in a time and place, especially here in America, where great emphasis on kavod is given to balei tzedakah. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there a way that we should try to convey to our children machshav gedolei Torah or lemdei Torah as opposed to balei tzedakah and other such gvirim or chedema?
Kavod to balei tzedakah is something that Chazal teach us. Chazal, Jewish Rashba, everybody knows the Mekayres. But at the end of the day, the reason why he deserves kavod is because he's machzik Torah. Because he's toimach Torah, not because he has money. It's because he's toimach Torah. And if we bring that out to our children, that the kavod that he's getting is not because he has that much money and he has that much chosen, has nothing to do with that. It has to do with fakir, what he doesn't have, what he gives away from himself. Then they don't look it up, that's the objective in life. The danger that you're saying is a very big danger. That children have a conception that this is the ultimate and that's what they have to grow up to be. And it looks like that's the spitz, and that gives the child the wrong objective in life. It's 100% true. But if you teach him that the reason he's getting kavod is not because of what he has, he's getting kavod of what he's giving away and what he realizes to give away for Torah, and the kavod is for that, then you're protecting your child at least to understand that it's not Doilam Hazar is getting kavod for, it's for his Mesirah to get kavod for. If they're all said and done, you have to teach a child that the kavod of a Talmid Chacham is still greater. It's still greater. It's still greater. That even though he has a koyach to be machzik Torah and he's going to have a Olam Haba for it and everything, but a Talmid Chacham is still greater than that. That message has to be given over to our children, and that message has to be given over, I think, in every maimed that children see, that when they bring out the godless of Tmichas HaTorah, it has to be stressed that the Torah itself is greater.
Is there a way, like an eitzah or advice that the Rav has for conveying that on a daily basis at home? Chshivas HaTorah, Chshivas Lemdei Torah, aside from learning at home, like the Rav was talking about.
So, what do we discuss at the table? Discuss at the table, this one bought a new house, this one goes with a new car, or this one finished Shas. That's the eitzah. Depends what the discussion at the table is. If the discussion at the table is about somebody that was masik ruchnias, then the child gets the message. If the discussion at the table is, they want fixed over the house, that one made that, and then the child gets the message that that's what's important. It's from the sichas chuln of mother and father, that's where a child sees what's important. And I'll make another very important ha'ara. A 3-year-old has a lot of moyach and a lot of yediyah. A 3-year-old is like a memory on a computer. And what he puts in when he's 3, he could take out when he's 12 and 14 and 18. And many of us make a mistake that the 3-year-old is playing on the floor with his toys, and I talk on the telephone, and the 3-year-old is not listening to my conversation, and I could talk whatever I want. I know from fact that the child hears, and the child stores it, he doesn't know what it means. But when he comes 12, when he comes 14, he can repeat it and know exactly what he heard and exactly what he meant. So we can't talk in front of children and think, hey, he's only a 3-year-old, he's busy with his toys. He's not going to hear what I'm saying, he doesn't know what I'm saying. It's not true. Everything registers, everything goes into his memory. And when he's older, he pulls it out of the memory card and he remembers, this, that. We have to remember that, not to make comments in front of children, not to talk things that are not appropriate in front of children, and realize to be oimid on the future that it's going to damage a child.
The Rav mentioned the inyan of giving tzedakah b'rabim versus b'tzina, the Chuvas Rashba. Is there a
Chuvas Rashba doesn't say you should give tzedakah b'rabim.
So that's what I wanted to ask.
There's no such Chuvas Rashba. The Chuvas Rashba said that you're mefarsim and I said tzedakah. You can be mefarsim, I said tzedakah. You have to know if the person wants it, if the person doesn't want it. You're not allowed to do it if the person doesn't want it. If there's a maila in tzedakah b'tzina, there's zichar a maila in tzedakah b'tzina. Rather, we want to give tzedakah b'tzina, and a person should give tzedakah b'tzina. And the more a person stays under the radar, and the more a person stays under the ground, the more a person is matzliach, and the more a person sees nachas, and the more the person has a chayas to overcome everything. Person is the greatest mazik that there is. Person is the greatest mazik there is. There's no greater mazik than person. You should know that. And people that let themselves come a farsa is a dark of Messias Nefesh Mitzidam.
Is there ever a time that it's worth giving it a person?
It could be.
Does the ends justify the means ever?
The ends justify the means. It depends on how much you're ready to give up of an emes. If you mean it l'shem shemayim, then the ends justify the means. If you mean it for ulterior motives, then it doesn't justify.
Okay, and for a person who working takes up the bulk of their time, and there's a limited time when they could learn, sometimes their work even has to follow them home, they have to take a call or answer an email. Are they practical ideas to convey that? I guess we kind of covered this, to convey the ikr to the children, that even if it's a half hour, the learning is the important part.
Says in Gemara, most working people think that this Gemara has nothing to do with them. I will say over Sosamas, it's either in Bahar or in Bechukosei. Where a person could work 3 hours in 1 hour, and it's Malachte Ara in Teras Chokva. It's contrary to what everybody says, but that's the Mitzias. It depends what the Ikar of your life is, it depends what your emphasis is, it depends what you machshav. A person can learn a half hour a day and work 10 hours a day, and that half hour should be kva, and his 10 hours should be ara. It depends on how he looks at it, and how you convey that message to children. You convey that message to children by telling them and by showing them that every minute that they have, you're ready to give away. Now I'm going to tell a very practical answer to everybody. The young man that davens by me, doesn't daven, he comes to Shurim. A Svardish young man, he works in a top firm. From COVID and on, he works probably at home mostly. What's the difference? He works a good 8 hours a day. I gave him an eitzah. The eitzah is something I said before already, but I gave him an eitzah. Every 2 hours, you should stop and learn a Mishnah. Takes 3 minutes. Takes 3 minutes, 4 minutes, with article, with whichever elucidated Mishnah you learn. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, yeah? 3 times a day. We all know Reb Chaim Shalev is 12 and 12 is not 24. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is not 8 hours. You're not working 8 hours, you're working 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. This is how Reb Chaim Shalev. It doesn't only work that way, it works this way also. The Yid told me Sunday that he's making tonight a Siyam Seder Moyed, 2 years. Him and his friends are making a Siyam Seder Moyed. He told me he never believed he could do it. He believed it'll peter out. After 2.5 years, he's making a Siyam Seder Moyed. No? How long does it take? It doesn't take anything away from business. Nobody could say that I can't do it. Make a quiz, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. 3 times a day. You separate the hours. Mishnah, your life will change. Your life will change. The Imam told me his life changed. He was an andere mensch. The shikua in business is not the same. You realize that that's what I'm looking up to. It's a different world.
And again, to people who have limited time, and maybe this is not a one-size-fits-all answer, but for someone who has limited time to learn, are there specific limudim that are recommended, important? Halach l'maisa. Okay.
Except something that's above his madrege, even if it's liber chofetz.
Elaborate.
Elaborate what 3/4 of the world learns: Kabbalah, Hashkafa, Machshava, whichever name you want to give it. Leave that alone. What's in your range of knowing? What belongs to you? What belongs to you? That means Gemara, Chumash, Mishnayos, Halacha. That's it.
And there's no priority. There's
no priority. Mashallah b'chofetz. That's where he lives. If there's any chazal, the person should live mashallah b'chofetz.
Okay, and this is a general question. As the summertime is approaching, in many working offices and environments, that we are exposed to things that we wouldn't be exposed to in the gigas of Har Sinai. What's some practical hadracha eitzes, the various seirus that the Rav could share with the Ilum?
I'm going to answer it. But people are not going to like what I answer, but that's the truth. If you're working in a place that it's impossible for you to be goyva on a sign, you're not allowed to work there. There's no two ways about it. If you can't be goyva on a sign, there's no way for you to be goyva on a sign. And there are such places. There are such places because, one, yen is a chatzufa. That's number one. Yen is a chatzufa. And there's no way you can run. We're not made out of iron. We're made out of blood and flesh. Nobody's made out of iron. Not by 20, not by 60, not by 80. I told a young man once. I asked him if when he goes through by the airport if it rings. So he asked me why should I ring? So I said because you act like you're made out of metal, not like you're made out of flesh. So if you act like you're made out of metal, it should ring when you go through. A person has to know he's made out of blood and flesh, and he's a human. And a human cannot withstand certain nisyanis. There's no way in the world. I'll tell you a mice of an heilige Satmarov. The Satmarov asked a certain Yid, the Yid is an Alamamus, I can't say his name, asked the Yid if he goes on a Bcheskel, his bosses to 47th Street. He made buses to go to 47th Street. And he asked him if he uses the buses. He says, he goes on the train and says, Schatten nicht. You know what that means? It doesn't damage him. The Satmar haben geämpft, man darf a Sach over seine Sonne Schatten. Man darf a Sach over seine Sonne Schatten. It's true. A person could say, me it doesn't touch. Well, the house chain, a lot after it. There's no such thing in the world. There's no such thing. We're humans, and we have to watch ourselves.
The Rav spoke in the speech about the milas of learning at home, the online shurim that are available, and all the, maybe that's mashli b'chavetz, versus learning a shir, a chavrusa, and a bismadrash. Is there a practical hadracha that the Rav could share on that?
I didn't say learning online at home is a eitzah, because I said learning ala koil is a eitzah. When you learn online, you don't learn with a koil.
Okay. Is there value to the
There's a value to learn at home. The child should hear father learning. There's a value to learn in Bismadish because you can be learning a different atmosphere. And there's a mokum for both. I'll tell you, the pshara, which is also a very important zach. We grew up in a generation of people who worked. When I was a youngster, 90% of the oilam worked, and worked hours that none of us work. 10 hours, 12 hours a day, worked hard. And they weren't able to learn in the middle of the week too much. But all of these Yidden got up Shabbos morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and sat and learned. All of them. You can ask their children, that's what left the Roshim by them. They heard their father learning Medrash Shabbos in the morning. They heard him being Mabaseder. They heard him saying Tillim in the morning. That way you can go up. All we can learn in Bismadish. Shabbos in the morning, get up 2 hours before davening and learn at home. Good pshara. Good pshara. There's no shurim available then. That's right. Chofa nicht.
Okay. Yashikayach. Thank you.
Alechtige Yom Tov.